No one in town ever understood how a love story that looked perfect from the outside could hide something so dark underneath. And if anyone had seen the way Daniel looked at Emily the night everything quietly began to fall apart, they would have realized that sometimes betrayal doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives like a soft whisper you don't hear until it's already too late. Daniel had always seemed like the man who would never lie, the kind of boyfriend everyone trusted without question, calm, composed, steady like a promise carved into stone. And Emily, with her warm laugh and careful heart, believed him the way you believe sunrise will return every morning. Friends always said they were the couple that made others believe love was safe, but the truth is that love is never safe when one person starts believing they deserve more than honesty. It started with something small: late replies, excuses that slipped too easily from his lips, sudden meetings that didn't exist before, a different kind of silence between calls, and a strange distance in his eyes that Emily pretended she didn't see because people in love often protect illusions more fiercely than they protect themselves. Daniel thought what he was doing wasn't really wrong at first, just talking, just helping someone, just someone who needed him, and telling himself that as long as he came back to Emily at the end of the day, he was still loyal, still good, still the hero of his story. But late nights have a way of revealing who people truly are, and in those late nights, Daniel kept drifting further toward another woman named Claire. Someone who made him feel important in a way his own guilt pretended to justify. Claire wasn't a villain, not at first, just someone who liked attention and kept feeding Daniel words that made him feel special, trusted, admired. And slowly Daniel started living two lives, one where he loved Emily, and one where he lied to her. Emily wasn't foolish. She noticed the emotional distance like a chill creeping into a warm room, noticed how his warmth felt shared now, how his eyes no longer stayed fixed on her the same way, how laughter didn't echo the same when she was the one standing beside him. But Emily believed in giving the person you love time, space, patience, believing that trust wasn't something you threw away just because worry whispered in your ear. The real turning point came the night she accidentally saw a message on Daniel's phone, not a dramatic discovery, not a confession, just a simple sentence Claire sent. "I miss the version of you that belongs only to me." 10 words. But they felt heavier than storms, and Emily didn't scream. She didn't break things. She didn't collapse. She simply stared, silent, as if her heart was trying to understand whether it should shatter or freeze. Daniel tried to explain, of course, using every classic line. It didn't mean anything. It was just emotional confusion. "I never stopped loving you." It wasn't what it looked like. But betrayal isn't defined by how far someone goes. It's defined by the moment they step away from you without your knowledge. That night, something changed in Emily, not anger yet, not revenge yet, just clarity. A terrifying, calm clarity that comes when someone finally realizes the person they trusted the most has already chosen to love themselves more than the truth. She didn't leave him instantly. Instead, she watched him, listened carefully, and studied the man she thought she knew. Daniel thought he had convinced her, believed the danger had passed, believed he fixed it, and he went back to acting normal. But Emily had stopped being the same woman, and when trust dies, silence becomes a weapon sharper than any argument. She became gentle in a different way, distant but controlled, still loving but colder, not because she wanted to hurt him, but because she was now quietly deciding what he truly deserved. Daniel, blinded by the illusion that everything was back to normal, didn't notice that Emily was no longer trying to protect the relationship. She was observing it like someone examining a broken glass to see where the first crack started. She never confronted Claire, never begged for explanation, never fought. Instead, she learned every detail, every lie, every time Daniel had chosen to betray instead of communicate. And with each truth she gathered, something powerful began to grow inside her. Not hatred yet, not cruelty, just strength. The kind of strength that comes when someone realizes their worth has never depended on another person's loyalty. Emily understood one final thing. Daniel didn't deserve a dramatic breakup. He deserved something far slower, something that would make him truly feel the cost of losing someone who once trusted him with their entire heart. And that was the moment when Emily stopped thinking like the girl who was betrayed and started thinking like the woman who would write the ending of this story herself. People always assume revenge is loud, explosive, something made of shouting, accusations, dramatic exits, and shattered memories. But Emily understood something deeper. The most unforgettable revenge is not chaos, it is clarity. And when she finally decided what Daniel deserved, she chose something far colder than rage and far quieter than hate. From that moment onward, everything she did was planned with calm precision. She didn't push him away. She didn't argue. She didn't punish him directly. Instead, she became the version of herself Daniel had always been lucky to have and was now far too blind to appreciate. The version that was kind, understanding, supportive, except now it wasn't love driving her. It was control. She started improving her life silently, working harder, glowing more, returning to the passions she had once set aside for him, surrounding herself with good people, with laughter, with confidence, all while Daniel stood beside her, believing he had been forgiven, believing the storm had passed. Betrayal has a way of making guilty people overly comfortable once they think they've escaped consequences, and Daniel began to feel safe again, so safe that he slipped back into old patterns of selfishness, not fully cheating this time but still enjoying the attention of multiple worlds, never learning that love without full loyalty is nothing more than beautifully disguised disrespect. He didn't realize that while he was feeling secure, Emily was building distance, not physically at first, but emotionally, step by step, removing him from places in her heart where he once lived freely. She stopped sharing her deepest thoughts with him, stopped needing his comfort, stopped letting his opinion define her worth, and although Daniel didn't notice at first, the truth is that when real love begins to leave, it doesn't slam the door, it quietly takes its belongings and goes. Emily waited, not because she was unsure, but because revenge built on patience cuts deeper. She wanted him to believe everything was perfect again, wanted him to relax, wanted him to feel chosen. So when she finally decided to walk away, he would feel the full weight of what he lost. The real breaking point came unexpectedly, like consequences often do. One evening during a gathering with mutual friends, Emily listened as Daniel confidently talked about how loyal he was, how deeply he valued commitment, how he would never hurt someone he truly loved, and those words spoken so easily from the mouth of the man who had betrayed her. Heart confirmed one thing. Daniel hadn't changed, he had simply gotten better at pretending. That night, instead of crying or confronting him, Emily went home and began the final chapter of her silent plan. She gathered proof of everything she knew, messages, patterns, the emotional connection he tried to dismiss, every lie patched up with charm, and not to expose him publicly, but simply to remind herself that leaving wasn't impulsive, it was earned. Then she did something Daniel never expected. She became distant in a way he could finally feel. She stopped chasing conversations. She stopped asking where he was. She stopped arguing and simply responded with calm, measured indifference. At first, Daniel brushed it off, thinking she was just tired, thinking he still had control. But slowly, fear crept in, the kind of fear people feel when they realize too late that the attention they always depended on is no longer guaranteed. He tried to be sweeter, tried to call more, tried to be present, but there is something terrifying about loving someone who has already emotionally outgrown you. No matter how hard Daniel tried, he couldn't reach the version of Emily who once waited for his honesty. When he finally asked her directly if something was wrong, she looked at him with a softness that wasn't love anymore but farewell, and that was when he understood something terrible. The woman who once would have cried, begged, fought, or forgiven was gone. Emily didn't yell. She didn't break down. She simply told the truth with devastating calm. She told him she knew everything, that she had always known, that she had given him time to prove he deserved to stay, and he had chosen deceit over truth long before she chose distance over love. She told him betrayal isn't always about action. Sometimes it's about every moment he decided his ego mattered more than her trust. Daniel tried, desperately this time, with panic instead of pride, promising change, promising devotion, promising all the things he should have chosen before. But the worst punishment for a betrayer is not anger, it is realizing their apology arrived in a place where it no longer matters. Emily didn't leave him with insults. She left him with reality, ending it with grace so sharp it hurt more than rage ever could. She walked away quietly, without drama, without looking back, and that silence was the echo Daniel would hear for years, because once he finally understood her worth, she was already gone. He watched her rebuild a life that no longer had a place for him, watched her become stronger, happier, free in a way she never could have been, while constantly questioning whether the person she loved was really loving her back. People later said Daniel never fully recovered from losing Emily, not because he lost a girlfriend, but because he lost the one person who was willing to love him honestly before he decided lies were easier. And Emily? She didn't become bitter, she didn't lose faith in love. Instead, she learned something powerful. True revenge isn't destroying someone, it's living a life that proves they never deserved you and making sure they know they will never be trusted with that kind of love again.